first education, it's the first education policy of 21st century. ये 34 old national policy on education को रिप्लेस करती है। और कोई भी नीति के जो प्रमुख विचार होते हैं, जो पिलर्स होते हैं, जो उस नीति को आगे लेकर जाने वाले होते हैं, उसमें एक्सेस, इक्विटी, क्वालिटी, अफोर्डेबिलिटी एंड अकाउंटेबिलिटी, दे हैव बीन पॉइंटेड आउट एज इंपॉर्टेंट पिलर्स ऑफ न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020। एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट, एज वी ऑल नो, कि जो शिक्षा का क्षेत्र है, जो ज्ञान का क्षेत्र है, वो कहीं ना कहीं राष्ट्रीय विकास के साथ साथ अंतरराष्ट्रीय विकास के मुद्दों से भी जुड़ा हुआ है। दिस इज व्हाई द पॉलिसी सेज दैट इट इज इन ट्यून विद द एजेंडा of 2030 agenda for sustainable development. It tries to present the idea that देश के विकास के साथ राष्ट्रीय स्तर के साथ साथ वैश्विक स्तर पर ज्ञान के साथ राष्ट्र की पहचान कैसे आगे बढ़ सकती है। दिस इज व्हाई इट सेज दैट इट अटेम्प्ट्स to work towards a vibrant knowledge society and to ensure that the country is like the global knowledge superpower. It is holistic. अगर हम सारे दस्तावेज को देखें न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 के, तो वहाँ फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच पर काफी फोकस दिया गया है। अब इन आंकड़ों के साथ आज के हम इस कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत करते हैं। जैसे हमने आपको बताया कि आज के इस वेबिनार में हमारे साथ IQAC NIRF SPM कॉलेज की एक बेहतरीन टीम के साथ साथ नॉट ओनली फैकल्टी मेंबर्स फ्रॉम SPM कॉलेज बल्कि अन्य कॉलेजेस से भी फैकल्टी मेंबर्स हमारे साथ हैं, मीडिया के सभी साथी हमारे साथ हैं। तो सबसे पहले मैं अनुरोध करूंगी आदरणीय प्रोफेसर साधना शर्मा मैम, प्रिंसिपल SPM कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ दिल्ली। मैं इससे पहले मैडम से अनुरोध करूं कि कार्यक्रम में वो स्वागत प्रस्ताव प्रस्तुत करें। मैं सभी साथियों को बताना चाहती हूँ that of course she needs no introduction, but for our respective speakers who have joined us, मैं बताना चाहती हूँ that Professor Sadhana Sharma ma'am is an institution within herself. She is a friend, philosopher, guide for various academic and extracurricular initiatives that have been taking place at SPM कॉलेज। माना कि अभी वेबिनार में हम सब लोग ऑफलाइन ऑनलाइन रूप से, वर्चुअल रूप से भेंट कर रहे हैं, लेकिन यदि जब भी आप ऑफलाइन रूप से SPM कॉलेज आए तो कॉलेज के गेट से लेकर किस प्रकार के बेहतरीन किताबों की प्रकाशन हुआ है, एक बहुत ही वाइड स्पेक्ट्रम में प्रोफेसर साधना शर्मा मैम ने बहुत ही निष्ठा के साथ, हार्डवर्क के साथ, इंटेग्रिटी के साथ SPM कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ दिल्ली का मार्गदर्शन किया है। इन्हीं बातों के साथ आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट आवर वेरी रिस्पेक्टेड प्रिंसिपल मैम प्रोफेसर साधना शर्मा मैम फॉर द वेलकम एड्रेस। मैम प्लीज।
Thank you very much, Amna. Good morning and namaste. On behalf of SPM College, with great pleasure and pride, I welcome you in the national webinar on new education policy, impact on higher education. I welcome our honorable chief guest, Dr. Sanjay Paswan ji, member of Bihar Legislative Council. I welcome our distinguished and learned speakers, Professor Sangeet Ragi, Dr. R.S. Kuril, Professor B.M. Sharma, Professor Pankaj Arora. I welcome all the participants who are lifeline of this discussion. I welcome and congratulate IQAC and NIRF team of SPM College who has organized this webinar on new education policy. I here quote Nelson Mandela: education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. It's very true, as education is the first step for people to gain the knowledge, critical thinking, empowerment, and skills they need to make this world a better place. Every nation has its own idea and objective about formal education. To achieve this objective, we have to make a specific education policy for every country and keep on improving it time to time. After 1986, in 2020, now present government has come with a new policy of education, and we all appreciate and welcome this policy. The new education policy of India is approved to bring about transformational reforms in school and higher education systems in the country. It has been launched with the aim to bring out the capabilities of each student, universalize education, build capacities, and transform the learning landscape. The new education policy proposes many changes in both school and higher education and focuses more on research and innovation besides better governance system. Here we have experts from this field and as speakers. So I wish you all the best for the success of this webinar, because we know that education is important and we have to know about the education policy also. So we can think that what are our requirement and what we are having in this policy. सभी लोगों को इस पर ध्यान देना चाहिए, जितने भी लोग यहाँ पर हैं, क्योंकि जो भी एजुकेशन पॉलिसी आती है वो एक तरीके से फॉर्मेटिव ईयर्स में जब होती है तो हमारे सारे के सारे पर्सपेक्टिव को बदल देती है, और हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो किस तरीके से अपने करियर में आगे बढ़ेंगे और किस तरीके से हमारा देश जो है आगे बढ़ेगा, वो इस बात के लिए हमारे को प्रतिबद्ध भी करती है। तो आप सब लोगों से मेरा अनुरोध है और मेरी अपेक्षा है कि आप सब लोग बहुत ध्यान से सुनेंगे। हमारे बीच बहुत सारे स्पीकर्स हैं जो कि निरंतर इस नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के जब बन रही थी तो उस प्रोसेस के साथ जुड़े रहे हैं। हमें उनके विचारों को जानना है और ये भी समझना है कि वास्तव में इसमें हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट यदि कहीं पूरी होती है तो वैसे भी सरकार ने बहुत सारे हजारों लोगों के पार्टिसिपेशन के साथ और डिस्कशन के बाद इसको बनाया है, लेकिन अभी भी हमेशा विचारों के लिए, क्योंकि शिक्षा तो हमारे लिए हमेशा रास्ते और दरवाजे खुले रखती है, तो आप सब लोग जो हैं कुछ भी नई बात आपके दिमाग में आए तो आप सुझाव के रूप में उसको यहाँ प्रस्तुत भी कर सकते हैं। तो थैंक यू वेरी मच and wish you all the best for the success of this webinar. Thank you.
धन्यवाद मैम, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Yeah.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद रिस्पेक्टेड प्रोफेसर साधना शर्मा मैम, प्रिंसिपल एसपीएम कॉलेज, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ दिल्ली। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैम, आपने किस प्रकार से नेल्सन मंडेला जी के विचारों से शुरुआत करी दैट यस एजुकेशन इज एन इम्पोर्टेंट वेपन टू चेंज द वर्ल्ड। और एजुकेशन का दायरा जो है जिसमें विचारों का मंथन एक बहुत ही जरूरी आयाम है। थैंक यू सो मच मैम फॉर एप्टली हाईलाइटिंग दैट। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैम, आपका सहयोग, राइट गाइडेंस सभी कॉलेज के एकेडमिक व नॉन एकेडमिक गतिविधियों को मिलती रहे, हमें पूरा भरोसा है। और इसी के साथ हम कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हैं। जैसे कि मैडम प्रोफेसर साधना शर्मा मैम ने हमें बताया कि आज के कार्यक्रम में हमारे साथ काफी बेहतरीन अतिथि जुड़े हैं, बेहतरीन स्पीकर्स जुड़े हैं। तो सभी साथियों को आज इस मंच विशेष से बताते हुए हमें बहुत प्रसन्नता होती है। इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ ग्रेट ऑनर एंड प्रिविलेज फॉर अस दैट आदरणीय डॉक्टर संजय पासवान जी, मेंबर बिहार लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल, हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं। संजय जी को परिचय की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि चाहे हम देखें किस प्रकार से सेंट्रल मिनिस्टर के रूप में वाजपेयी जी की सरकार में उनकी एचआरडी को लेकर, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डेवलपमेंट को लेकर कितनी बेहतरीन भूमिका थी। यू हैव बीन अ प्रोफेसर, आपकी जो किताबें हैं वो देश विदेश में चर्चित हैं, एजुकेटर, टीचर अमंगस्ट अदर्स। सो ऑन दैट नोट, इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ ग्रेट privilege for all of us at SPM College, University of Delhi, to have respected Dr. Sanjay Paswan ji amongst us as our chief guest for today. कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए मैं संजय जी को नमस्कार करती हूँ और अनुरोध करती हूँ कि आज के कार्यक्रम में
थैंक यू मैडम मिर्जा जी, वो अच्छा बोल रही हैं। आपके बोलने के बाद तो हम लोग को कौन सुनेगा। मैडम साधना जी ने इनवाइट किया, अच्छा लगा। और श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी कॉलेज, जो श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी नाम है, ये तो हम लोग के प्रेरक पुरुष रहे हैं। और आज उनकी जो कल्पना थी एजुकेशन का, उसको हमारी गवर्नमेंट ने 2020 की पॉलिसी में इम्प्लीमेंट करने का प्रयास किया है। देखिए, इस देश में, दुनिया में कैपिटलिज्म एंड सोशलिज्म नाम की जो दो एक आइडियोलॉजी का जो वर्ड्स था वो अब खत्म हो रहा है। तो अब एक नया वर्ड निकला है आजकल, है ह्यूमनिज्म का। somebody say radical humanism, but we say integral humanism. तो ये एक रास्ता निकला है कि बिटवीन कैपिटलिज्म एंड द सोशलिज्म दुनिया एक फलसफा तलाश कर रही है, दुनिया एक दर्शन तलाश कर रहा है। उसमें इंडिया ने, श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी ने, दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी ने, गांधी ने निश्चित तौर से एक जो दर्शन दिया इस देश को, वह दर्शन शिक्षा में कहीं ना कहीं परिलक्षित नहीं हो रहा था। तो वर्तमान की जो केंद्र की सरकार है और खासकर प्रधानमंत्री महोदय जी के प्रयास से जो नई शिक्षा नीति बनी है 2020, उसमें जो एक बड़ी बात है जो इंटीग्रेशन की बात है। मतलब इंटीग्रेशन सामाजिक लेवल पे भी हो रहा है, पॉलिटिकल लेवल पे हो रहा है, एजुकेशन लेवल पे हो रहा है, हर लेवल पे हो इंटीग्रेशन, इस बात की आवश्यकता है। मुझे लगता है कि सोसाइटी में इंटीग्रेशन, दुनिया में इंटीग्रेशन जो है, दिस इज द बज़वर्ड दीज डेज। तो एजुकेशन में बिना उस इंटीग्रेशन के फिलॉसफी को लाए बिना सोसाइटी पॉलिटिक्स में वह परिवर्तन नहीं हो सकता है। इसलिए मैं मानता हूं कि सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि इस एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के माध्यम से वर्तमान देश में अब
हमें लगता है आदरणीय संजय पासवान सर का नेटवर्क का विषय है। आई थिंक देयर आर सम टेक्निकल network issues on side of respected Dr. Sanjay Paswan ji. Just give us a minute and our technical team is also checking it. Just 1 minute का समय and our technical team is checking for this.
Yes, ma'am. Issue is from sir's side. Sir has left the meeting.
जैसे हम देख सकते हैं कुछ टेक्निकल विषय हैं। सर विल बी जॉइनिंग अस अगेन। सर हमारे बीच दोबारा उपस्थित होंगे जैसे ही इंटरनेट ठीक रहेगा। तो साथियों, कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए जैसे संजय जी ने एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात हमारे बीच रखी कि इंटीग्रेशन, द एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इंटीग्रेशन, और यही एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इंटीग्रेशन और उसमें शिक्षा का जो प्रमुख महत्व है, यदि हम देखें किस प्रकार से राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी जी ने हमारे बीच एक बहुत प्रमुख बात रखी, लर्न एज इफ यू वर टू लिव फॉरएवर, या किस प्रकार से शिक्षा हमारे जीवन में कितनी महत्वपूर्ण है, वो हमें अन्य विचारकों के विचार से भी मिलती है। तो इसी बात से पर वी विल नाउ गो अहेड एंड इनवाइट अवर नेक्स्ट रिस्पेक्टेड स्पीकर, रिस्पेक्टेड डॉक्टर R.S. कुरील सर, डायरेक्टर इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ हॉर्टिकल्चर टेक्नोलॉजी। मैं सभी साथियों को बताना चाहती हूँ दैट सर हैज बीन मेंबर, फॉर्मली मेंबर ऑफ नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी रिव्यू कमिटी, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया। ही हैज बीन वाइस चांसलर बिरसा एग्रीकल्चरल यूनिवर्सिटी रांची, झारखंड, वाइस चांसलर MD University of Agriculture and Technology, Ayodhya, UP, Vice Chancellor BR Ambedkar University of Social Sciences, Mao, Indore, and Director Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. इसी बात के साथ मैं डॉक्टर R.S. कुरील सर से अनुरोध करूंगी कि वो अब इस समय हमारा अपने विचारों से न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 इम्पैक्ट ऑन हायर एजुकेशन पर, इस वाले विषय पर हमारा मार्गदर्शन करें अपने विचारों से। स्वागत डॉक्टर R.S. कुरील सर।
मैं आपको देख रहा हूँ, आप दिख रहे, मुझे दिख रहे हैं कि नहीं?
बिल्कुल दिख रहे हैं।
ओके
जी देख पा रहे हैं आप। नमस्कार।
गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीबॉडी।
Good afternoon.
Could I give a basic concept of national education policy?
Yes, sir. So,
Okay. See, the education policy 2020 has come up with very I don't want to appreciate ourselves, but we have done a lot of work. We have discussed number of vice chancellors, number of academicians, number of educational institutions, religious institutions, academic institutions, industrial education system, industries, bureaucrats, politicians, different party leaders, all areas as much as possible we have discussed. And before that, Subramaniam Committee has also made a lengthy discussion, debate, collection of information, data. So keeping in all these things into consideration, we have drafted the report. We have also gone through the report, education policy of different country. What the education policy is presently going on in US, in USA, in European countries, or in some other developed countries. What are the problems of our Indian conditions? We have seen Bahraich. You may not be aware about the eastern UP districts, Bahraich, Kalahandi in Odisha, northeastern state, far-flung areas of our country. We have diversified climatic conditions, diversified educational system, diversified language, mother tongue. So keeping into considering many things, we have drafted, as Madam Principal was referring about Nelson Mandela, we have mentioned about Dr. Ambedkar in the report. Cultivation of mind is the ultimate aim of human existence. It is also in the national education policy that what maybe Dr. Ambedkar mentioned while presenting the constitution in parliament, that this constitution may be excellent, but if people of implementing agencies will not implement in a proper way, it will not prove well. Same situation occurs here also. If the universities, institutions, colleges will not implement this education policy properly, it may not give that much expected report results. And we are today want to discuss the impact. It will be too early to discuss about the impact, because it has not yet been properly even initiated for implementation in many states and many universities, colleges. Only central universities have initiated some of the part of these education policies recommendations. So impact, I would like to request all our this webinar makers, congratulations to them, and really appreciable efforts made by Yamuna and Principal Madam. Of course, everything moves around the principal only. So whole credit goes to principal. Even Yamuna might be making hard work, but credit will go to the principal. Okay, and I would like to suggest everybody that they should go through the recommendations of the national education policy carefully and implement the scheme programs, whatever we have made in the recommendations. A committee has been constituted to look after the implementation status, but we could not meet up till now because of the corona and many other problems. So certainly we will try to meet again and again, and we will formulate and see if there is any mid-course midterm corrections are required. I would like to mention one of this is being this webinar organized by the college. I would like to mention that earlier in the participation of colleges, particularly for these PhD programs, and for the research, it was not there. Maybe in Delhi University colleges are there, but in entire country, the colleges of different affiliated colleges, government colleges, they have not yet been allowed to carry out PhD programs and also for research programs. So in this policy, we have allowed them also to carry out the higher education, impart not only this academic programs, but also participation in the innovative research. For that, a budget provision has also been made. And there was some problem in the budget allocations. We have also discussed that we don't want to create another institutions like DST or DBT. It is a separate kind of budget which has been provided. Impact we wanted that see in higher education. If we take the example of IIT, IIMs, I think we are producing best engineers of the world in our IITs. We are producing best managers of the industry in our IIMs. They are best institutions created by the government of India with well thought along with enough infrastructure. But what their contribution? IITians are contributing anything to our Indian grassroots level to the industry, or they have technology system to disseminate at grassroots level or to the Indian industries. Similarly, or we have a methodology in IIM to serve the managers developed by Indian institutions, IIMs, for the development of our grassroots level people? No. They are serving, most of them are serving in multinational companies. IITians are also serving to international agencies. The technology which has been developed by IITs are not reaching to the Indian industry or to the grassroots level. Similarly, the management techniques, methodology, best managers, management tools are not reaching to the Indian system. For them, it is essential that they have to develop a methodology, not only academic works, they have to develop research for carrying out innovative research and also a mechanism for dissemination of knowledge and technology at grassroots level. So these three things, one is academics, which we are doing basically in our university system. Second one, we have to carry out research that we are lacking in our system, and whatever the technology or knowledge developed by the university, by the college, by the academicians, by the technocrats, by the thinkers, philosophers, need to be disseminated at the needy people, be a industry, Indian industry, be a cottage industry, be a rural areas, be a needy people. So that kind of techniques, methodology, mechanism has been developed in agricultural universities. In our India, agriculture universities have three kind of things. Of course, I am from agriculture science. So I have tried to incorporate the things. One is academic wing that we used to manage by Dean Education, Dean Management College, different colleges of the Dean. And parallel position is Directorate of Research. Every university has a strong wing, equally strong like academics, Dean, College of Agriculture, College of Engineering, College of Management, whatever may be, they are managed by Dean. Similarly, there is a strong division of Directorate of Research supported by a sufficient number of scientists like assistant professor, associate professor, and professor. In agricultural universities, there is a wing of seniors, junior scientists, senior scientists, principal scientists, chief scientists. And third wing is Directorate of Extension Education. So the purpose of the Directorate of Extension Education is to disseminate the knowledge and technology at the grassroots level, and that is also a strong wing of the universities headed by Director of Extension with their office at each district called Krishi Vigyan Kendra, and each Krishi Vigyan Kendra has 10 scientists and other subordinate staff to disseminate the techniques, technology, knowledge developed by any university of the world to the grassroots level. This has resulted that we were suffering from starvation. Now we are in a food surplus state country. We many times we have seen our television that we don't have that much required quantity of godowns to store our fruit grains. So that achievement we have made in agriculture science. Similarly, we have also made sufficient achieve success in medical science. The retirement age was 50 years. It went to 55 years, then 58 years, then 60 years, 62 years, now 65 years, and now vice chancellors are to retire at 70 years. And some of the universities even don't have their age barrier. So this is the achievement made by the medical sciences and their research. However, in case of social sciences, engineering also, everybody might have seen in Delhi. We are talking about with the college of situated at Delhi, that metro has entered in Delhi without moving where this water has gone from, where water has been taken from, where this cloud has gone. So things have been developed in a day night only. The bridges are being ready. So engineering has also made a significant success in our country. But in case of social sciences, I feel lacking. Atrocities are going on, women atrocities are going on, atrocities against vulnerable sections like downtrodden communities, Dalit, Adivasis, and children's traffickings are going on, child abuse is going on. So what kind of casteism is there, religious dominance is there? There's so much so many social evils are prevailing in our country. So that kind of responsibility goes to the social science, College of Social Science, Humanities we used to call it. We are only doing that BA degree and MA degree. That too, students used to come to participate in the examination, and unfortunately that Kunji is good enough to qualify that BA examination. So that kind of education we are imparting to our students, and we are expecting that they will bring some big change in our country. It will be a transforming in higher education. So that is not going to be happen. We have made a maximum efforts to improve the education of particularly of social sciences, where the curriculum, the pedagogies and syllabus is to be prepared by each and every university, taking into considering the syllabus and courses of agriculture universities, medical universities, engineering universities. See, if any candidate goes into IIMs, how 5 years they used to give the education for a student, how much they pay the stress for developing one manager. Similarly, in case of MBBS, if a candidate got admission in MBBS, how after 5 years a student comes as a doctor. Everybody expects that a doctor should be perfect. He should be a skin specialist. He should have cardiologist. He should have entomologist. He should dermatology. Everybody expects doctor, but they don't. Similarly, society also expect from BA, also expect from BCom, also expects from these another courses of which are being taught in our traditional colleges for the humanities and social sciences. So you see the difference of education we are doing in our country itself, and 95% of chunk is there only. They are either doing BA, MA or these related outside related subject and courses. And we are also imparting the education, better education to medical sciences, to engineers, to management people. So this is a kind of why it is there, because we are not able to develop that kind of courses. Is it not? See that equal importance, equal syllabus, political science. If we take the example of political science or sociology, it has very vast subject. But we have not prepared course content. We have not developed into the semester system. We have not made a proper examination pattern. We have not made a system for conducting examination, evaluation, and giving stress for 2 years. What is that 2 years? And that too for 15 days of examination only. So every courses is to be now 4 years. Everybody has to give proper stress on that, and semester system should be there. Everybody should be given a proper syllabus. Number of examinations should be increased. Evaluation system is to be improved. We want that the caliber of BA pass student or BCom student should be equal to the caliber of MBBS or caliber of BSc Agriculture or caliber of BTech. IITians. So until and unless we will not make uniform education and make them that education is to be imparted for everybody in a same pattern, how we can compare in this system? Sanjay sir has come again. Namaste sir. I am finishing it, and sir, your program you have left the in between.
कुरीन सर कंटिन्यू बहुत ही बेहतर
Yeah.
जी जी
So in this system, we have made a number of recommendations to develop a best academicians, educational excellence, and also carrying out innovative research by each colleges, by the universities. For them, financial assistance, providing financial assistance provisions have been made. And I would also like to mention that there have been a number of intermediary precautions, support, suggestions for the teachers is there. We have to become Vishwaguru, and we don't have Guru. How we don't have qualified Guru, how we can be a Vishwaguru? So we have given a, I think in this policy, major focus on teachers' education. We have a Shiksha Mitra, and see the Shiksha level of Shiksha Mitra, see the level of education system in our infrastructure. So many things are to be improved, and it will be improved slowly. And I think the education part concern, teachers are not to be buried. They are not going to be kept out until 2030. But before that, everybody has to get B.Ed, that to 4 years course. That has become made essential, and they will be given time for improving their academic level, academic standard. And everywhere in every system there is a government and there is a academicians. We have made strong recommendations for the academic excellence for the teachers education. PhD was made the compulsory, but some relaxation has been given again in the context of corona for up to 2023, and God knows it may continue further also, it may extended further also. So there many things are political things comes in between, but we as an academicians, we have to always insist upon pushing the things that we have to make academic standard, academic excellence, innovative research. And again I would like to emphasize, for whom we are developing the technology, for whom we are developing the knowledge. Are we able to disseminate that knowledge and technology to the needy people of our country? No, not at all. We don't have mechanism. In 95% universities, there is no mechanism to disseminate knowledge, to carry out innovative research. They are imparting only graduation degree, BA, MA, BCom, MCom, and BBA, whatever the course is available to the people. So in this policy, these kind of education changes have been made, and number of agencies have also been reduced. Earlier regulatory authorities were number of regulatory authorities for medical education, for veterinary education, for social science education. Lot of regulatory authorities were there. Now it has been curtailed down to 4 only. and to look after the day-to-day activities, efforts. It has been taken up by the Prime Minister level. So education standard has been taken to very high level. That National Education Commission has been formed under the chairmanship of Honorable Prime Minister. And the similar analogy, state has to state level education commission headed by chief minister. And for the academic credit bank is developed. National Research Foundation has been developed, created budget. 50,000 crore has been kept during this financial year for carrying out the research. Now every college, every university should come forward to prepare a project for carrying out innovative research and submit to the higher education department for financial assistance. And special education zones are being developed for imparting higher education to weaker section, to minorities, to disabled people, especially abled people, to the far-flung areas. And similarly, this education level, we have many things to discuss. See, only 2% higher education participation of tribal girls of our country. So how we can make that India is the best educated country when 80% of the chunk is not being given proper education? So that things have been kept in mind and prepared this education policy. And this National Education Technology Forum has been developed. This will facilitate the exchange of ideas from one university to another university, technical university to traditional university, international university to colleges, where this forum has been developed. So, and particularly for the education, this language is concerned, we have made compulsory this Hindi for entire country, but unfortunately while implementing there was a little problem. So this now I am hearable. Okay. So the language is also a very important thing. Mother tongue is very important thing. We have made recommendation that Tamil, Telugu is to be also studied, is to be taught in our North India in UP and Bihar. And similarly, Hindi is should be made a compulsory, but it could not be. Now it has been left to the younger generation, future generation like Amna and other people. They will make next education policy after 20-30 years, and they will again make efforts to make Hindi is a compulsory language for entire nation. Until unless we do not have any language, it is every country has its own language, so we have to promote this language also. And rest things are there. Our Guruji, our Guruji is here, and मैं उनको ऊपर छोड़ता हूँ. Sir, he will speak something about this. Sir.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आदरणीय डॉक्टर कुरेला सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Thank you. How importantly you point out, because you have been a member of the National Education Policy Review Committee, Ministry of Education, Government of India, कि कितनी वाइड कंसल्टेशंस के साथ ये नीति प्रस्तुत करी गई है और एम एजुकेशनल एक्सीलेंस, इनोवेटिव रिसर्च. लेकिन जो बापू का विचार था कि आखिरी पंक्ति के आखिरी व्यक्ति, द लास्ट पर्सन इन द लास्ट लाइन, उसके प्रति आप संवेदनशीलता रखते हैं. आई थिंक दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट, दैट लुकिंग टुवर्ड्स द margin level for the crisis.
Sorry, I'm totally in the interior of the Bihar.
Could you say audio बंद कर audio?
It's on now. It's on.
जी सर, संजय सर बिल्कुल हमारे साथ. 1 सेकेंड. आदरणीय डॉक्टर संजय पासवान सर, मेंबर बिहार. ऑडियो वीडियो दोनों.
I'm audible. I'm audible.
बिल्कुल जी.
Yes. So I was talking, the entire world and entire universe is now tending towards get integrated. You know, differentiation phase has gone away now. So whether it is education policy or social policy or economic policy, it's a phase of alliance. You know, in the politics, alliance era is going on. So convergence is going on. So that's why this policy thrust is on the convergence, on the unifications, on the universalizations, on the integrations against differentiations. So first thing I would like to tell you that we must take leverage, and let me congratulate the Delhi University that's the first university which has taken initiative to implement this policy first. So on that count, Madam Sadhna ji is to be congratulated that your university is the first, and your college happens to be one of the first also among them to see how it can be applied in all spheres of your campus life. So see, first thing, this liberal arts, science, engineering, medical, pharmacy, how they can be integrated. That's a big question, you know. Very few countries in the world, they are trying to integrate the science and art both, technology and pharmacy both all together. And that's a call of the time now. You see, in our philosophy, we have been Advait, non-dualism. Nothing is duality, non-dualism. That's the integration. And we do believe in non-dualism. We do believe in integration theories. That's why that is a samrasta also. You can say, in the social parlance of these days, you can say that's a samrasta. Samras Vigyan. Samras Kala. That's why I'm telling you, this 1 year certificate course, 2 year diploma course, 3 and 4 years degree course. So everybody has a liberty now. That's why I'm telling you how your college, how Shyama Prasad Mukherjee College of Delhi University can take leverage of that policy, since you are the first university to implement it. That's why I'm telling you, that's a great opportunity for us. Now, you know, in Bombay, one private university has started one course, is BS, Bachelor in Science. And that Bachelor in Science comprises of social science, pure science, engineering science, all degrees are included. So nothing is, if anybody can apply for anything also. That's why you know, somebody from the history, he may teach chemistry. Somebody from chemistry, he may teach history. Now it's a great opportunity for everyone, because the people take the courses. Now I was in my honors days, I was more interested, you know, in art subjects. But my father told me, no, you will have to take the science subject. Then I took the course for the physics honors. But rather, afterwards, in the MA, I changed from that science stream to management stream. It was a very difficult task. Now that has been facilitated. Anybody, your propensity, your nature, as per your tendency, you can take up the courses. That's why this type of liberty, you know, it's a great opportunity for everyone. For everyone. That's why this creativity, criticality, how it can be addressed, this education policy has tried its best level, how the criticality and the creativity can be created, can be innovated, can be planted among the teachers and taught, both. So this type of liberty, how college can take, you should certainly contact I happen to be the EC member of your university also. So college should take lead and should ask university how a college can intervene positively to take benefits, to take leverage of this policy. That's why I'm sure SP Mukherjee College, you know, SP Mukherjee was our forefather, you know. He was our he was our biggest ideologue. That's why cultural nationalism, integral humanism, that's why your college must take the lead, and we shall be at your disposal, at your beck and call, how the policy can be implemented in your college. That's why I'm telling you, it's an open one. It's not a closed. This policy has made every stakeholders open-ended. That's why you have full liberty to seek our patronage, seek patronage of the university, but you try to be your custodian. That's why, Madam Sadhna ji, really, it's a very good move for them. They have started, and Amna, You should also take, which subject you belong? I think social science or pure science?
सब पॉलिटिकल साइंस, मैं
Pol
साइंस
science,
पढ़ाती हूँ.
That's the biggest science. That's the biggest science, It's the politics which impacts economics, which impacts ethics, which impacts everything. That's why you must take the political economy. We must take the political economy, political society, and this is the knowledge era. How knowledge can be applied in every sphere of life. That modality, it is you people who will have to give the alternatives. That's why my full blessings to you all people. And when offline we'll be meeting, we shall be discussing more and more. On the 17th of the day, EC meeting is there. I'll be coming there. And I would love to meet you all people. Thank you very much for this seminar. I'm in the very remote area of Bihar. Sitamarhi, land of Sita. I am there. That's why that phone call is disconnected and now again reconnected. So again, for this precise my submission, I'll be talking you in details whenever we'll be meeting offline. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you, Shadna ji. Thank you, Amna ji.
थैंक यू
वेरी मच सर, धन्यवाद.
Thank you.
आपने ज्वाइन किया इतनी दूर से अपने व्यस्त पूरे शेड्यूल के अंदर. और आप तो हमारे ईसी मेंबर भी हैं और ईसी की मीटिंग में भी पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं, तो आपका आना बहुत जरूरी था इस पर.
दही ना लगा.
थैंक यू.
ठीक है. Okay.
नमस्कार.
From the land of Sita, I am all blessing you. Sita, land.
थैंक यू सर. जी, सीतामढ़ी. सच में.
धन्यवाद रिस्पेक्टेड डॉक्टर संजय पासवान सर, आपने हमें न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के ऊपर इतने बेहतरीन विचार हमें प्रस्तुत करा और साथ साथ शुभकामनाएं दी. सीतामढ़ी से आप इस समय बिहार में हैं. एंड वंस अगेन ग्रेटिट्यूड सो मच सर फॉर स्पेयरिंग सम ऑफ योर प्रेशियस टाइम फ्रॉम योर बिजी स्केड्यूल एंड गाइडिंग अस ऑन दिस वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ integration of new education policy 2020 with reference to higher education. Respected friends, respected participants with us at the forum right now, as Swami Vivekananda ji said, a nation advances in proportion to education intelligence amongst educational intelligence spread amongst the masses. And yes, as I go towards our next distinguished speaker, who definitely needs no introduction, आपको परिचय की जरूरत नहीं है. He is head department of political science, University of Delhi, a renowned political analyst, columnist, author and poet. तो जो कवि का और ज्ञान का इतना बेहतरीन सागर विचारों के साथ जब हमारे बीच लेकर आ रहे हैं, so it's indeed a matter of great privilege for all of us at Shyama Prasad Mukherjee College for Women, University of Delhi. इसी बात के साथ मैं आदरणीय प्रोफेसर संगीत रागी सर से अनुरोध करूंगी कि अपने विचारों से आज के इस इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 इम्पैक्ट ऑन हायर एजुकेशन पे हमें वो मार्गदर्शन प्रदान करें. नमस्कार सर, स्वागत आपका आज के मंच विशेष पर. और सर, जैसे हम सब जानते हैं, यू आर अ वेरी प्रोमिनेंट पॉलिटिकल एनालिस्ट ऑफ द नेशन, कॉलमिस्ट हैं एंड सबसे ज्यादा कवि हैं. ये बहुत सुंदर एक भाव होता है कि ज्ञान को और कविता और कला को साथ लेकर आना. तो सर, ऑन दैट aspect we congratulate you for having this multi-dimensional approach, क्योंकि यही multi-dimensionality न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 का भी एक प्रमुख सार है. सर, स्वागत है आपका एसपीएम कॉलेज पर. प्रोफेसर रागी सर, प्लीज.
धन्यवाद आमना. Honorable Sanjay ji, a good friend of mine, Professor Korail, the principal, the very dynamic principal of the college, Professor Sadhna Arya ji, other distinguished colleagues.
संगीत जी, साधना शर्मा, साधना आर्या is different.
Sorry.
वो आपके पॉलिटिकल साइंस की हैं. I do remember.
इसलिए निकल गया. I apologize.
Yeah. नहीं कोई बात. हो जाता.
So this is the topic which I've been very close to my heart. And I have been very passionate about it because I had the opportunity to work with Professor Dinesh Sinha and his team in the University of Delhi from 2012 onward for a couple of years, when the university decided to introduce educational reforms, introducing 4-year degree program. And in many ways, to me, the structure and the functionality of the new education policy 2020, to me it seems to be the replica of what University of Delhi started in 2014. There are 3 major elements. One is what the education aims at. That is the mission of the education. Secondly, what is the structure of the educational system? And third is the pedagogy involved in. So every education system aims at making a good human being. If the education system doesn't produce good human being, it is worthless. If it doesn't produce a good citizen of India who abides by the law of the land, who is loyal to the land, it is a failed education system. So the first and the foremost mission of any education should be that it produces a good human being. Sanjay ji was talking humanism. One who is concerned about others. One who is concerned about the well-being of the other. One who is passionate and sympathetic towards the needy people. One who respects the ideas of the others. So every education system must inculcate certain values in the student, whether he is at the school level or at the college level. The second is our education must address the problems of the society, the problems of the nation. Sometimes we feel that our education is completely cut off from the roots, cut off from the real world situations. And we are oscillating somewhere in the vacuum. So when we have the examples before us, we find that they are not correlating with what we are actually facing at the grassroots level. In political science, we teach political culture, political system, political socialization. But if I ask my student that how would you apply the political culture approach to understand a particular political phenomena in the society, see or he fails to answer because we hardly have used this, we hardly have connected it. The third is the education must create jobs for you. It should enable you to earn bread and butter. And this is possible only when you have skills in your hand. Suppose I have done graduation in political science. I have done my master in political science. And I'm not able to deliver, I'm not able to use my degree anywhere in the society, then it is worthless. So every education, every curriculum must enable the students to learn some skills which is integrated with the subject and which I or you can translate into the real world situation. And fourth, the education must lead to knowledge production. What we see at the moment is the dissemination of information. Dissemination of information in the sense that we communicate to our students the existing information in our academic world. So, it is merely the circulation of the wisdom, what it already exists. The knowledge production means the new edition. So many Upanishads were written, one after another, one after another. So every sage has its own experience. It was coming through the experiential knowledge. And the sage is articulating that in form of a new creation of Upanishad. And then again saying, Neti, Neti, this is not the end, this is not the end. So there is nothing like finality of the truth. If we apply Kuhnian paradigm, then the society is all moving towards perfection. It is not perfect. We tend to be perfect. Science is also not perfect. Science tends to be perfect. So knowledge creation is a very, very crucial element. When the students come for research at the postgraduate level, most of the time we find that there is only recycling of the same thing. So what happens that we have converted ourselves, the universities in India have been converted in last 70 years as a machine which produces degrees. It produces degrees, but it has failed in its duty to produce knowledge system. Ideally, universities should have been the idea Universities should have been the place of breeding ground of ideas. But unfortunately, it is the industry which is the breeding ground of ideas. Ideal situation would have been that instead of a student approaching the industry should have approached the faculties. When we look at Hawthorne experiment, we look at the industrial research in United States of America, when we go into the history of organizational theory, we find that industries approach the academia to resolve the problems. What has happened to our educational system that the communication traffic is just reverse? So I think that this is what probably must have propelled the government and the people associated with the new education policy to think upon, and the new education policy has perfectly delivered on these fronts. So as a mission, I think that the new education policy aims at addressing 4 elements, important components, that it produces a good human being, a good citizen of India, which is embedded with civilizational, cultural ethos of the nation, values of the nation. Secondly, it aims at developing an education system which is problem solving, addressing the challenges of the society and the nation at large. It is job oriented, and it is focusing on knowledge production. And that is why the research has been decentralized in the new structure of education system. The research is not the monopoly and the privilege of only at the level of master and onward degrees. It is integral with even the graduation programs. And we have seen that the young mind produce wonders if they are allowed to open their wings. If we don't curtail their imagination, if we don't stop their imagination, they can fly high above the sky. And I think that framers of the new education system must have thought about it, that allow our students to fly in the sky of the knowledge coordinates, capture whatever the imagination, go through the imagination, find out something new, find out something out of box, experiment with, and create something new for the world, for the nation. If you look at the structure of the new education system, there is a flexibility. In the structure, you find flexibility. Look at the education system, what was existing in India prior to the colonial period. We had no structured timetable from 10 to 5. हमारे शिक्षक गांव में पढ़ाते थे। उत्तर प्रदेश में ही 4 लाख से ज्यादा विद्यालय थे। एक बातें बहुत आपको हैरान करने वाली दिखाई देंगी। लेकिन उनका शाम का भी पाठशाला होता था, दोपहर का भी पाठशाला होता था, सुबह भी पाठशाला होता था। साधना जी तो हिंदी के प्रोफेसर हैं, बानभट्ट की आत्मकथा पढ़ी होगी, उसका पहला ही जो पन्ना है उसमें बानभट्ट कहते हैं कि हमारे घर की सुख सारिकाएं भी वेदों मंत्रोच्चार करती थी। हमारे पिता यज्ञ की वेदी पर सुबह बैठते थे और यज्ञ की वेदी पर ही शाम उठते थे, बीच में सिर्फ और सिर्फ शिक्षण कार्य होता था। हम लोगों की तरह नहीं कि थोड़ा सा टेलीविजन भी कर लें, थोड़ा सा पॉलिटिक्स भी कर लें, थोड़ा पढ़ा भी लें, थोड़ा इधर उधर की बात भी कर लें। सो ये जो टाइमिंग है, ये बड़ा क्रूशियल एलिमेंट है। जब लालू प्रसाद यादव ने चरवाहा विद्यालय की कल्पना की थी तो वो मुझे बड़ा अच्छा लगा था, लेकिन आप जब सोचने को आप ट्रांसलेट नहीं कर सकते हैं तो फिर वो सारी चीजें फेल कर जाती हैं। फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी ये है कि यू कैन डिजाइन योर डिग्री। अब बहुत बार आपको, मुझे पॉलिटिकल साइंस के साथ साथ मुझे हिंदी लिटरेचर में बड़ा शौक है, संस्कृत लिटरेचर में बड़ा शौक है, मुझे बानभट्ट पढ़ने का मन करता है, मुझे कालिदास पढ़ने का मन करता है, लेकिन ये अपॉर्चुनिटी हमको नहीं था। हमको तो दे दिया जाता है पॉलिटिकल साइंस, इंग्लिश, ये तमाम। अब आपके पास वो लिबर्टी है, अब आपके पास वो पूरा, आपके पास, हम कहते हैं ना, यू कैन मैक्सिमाइज योर चॉइस टुडे। विद पॉलिटिकल साइंस एट द कोर यू कैन हैव एनीथिंग। सेकेंड चीज, एक और बात निकल करके आई है इस एजुकेशन। देखिए, वोकेशनल नॉलेज को हम लोगों ने अपने देश में बहुत छोटे दर्जे का मान करके चला है। आप स्विट्जरलैंड जैसे कंट्री में आप देखेंगे, उनके विश्वविद्यालयों में 2400 के आसपास वोकेशनल नॉलेज उनके विश्वविद्यालयों में पढ़ाया जाता है। हमने क्या किया है? व्हाट हैव वी डन? हमारे यहां वोकेशनल नॉलेज को बड़ा हीन दृष्टि से देखा गया है, और उसके लिए हमने क्या किया? ITI किया। अरे ये तो ITI करके आया है। हमने उसको हायर एजुकेशन से इंटीग्रेट ही नहीं किया, और हमने क्या किया? BA पास, BA पास, BA पास, BA ऑनर्स पॉलिटिकल साइंस। इवन इफ यदि दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी 60,000 प्रोड्यूस करे, 20,000 भी प्रोड्यूस करे, और पूरे देश से यदि 5 लाख यदि BA ऑनर्स पॉलिटिकल साइंस प्रोड्यूस हो जाए एक साल में, तो उनको कहां जॉब मिलेगा? कहां जाएंगे? कैसे करेंगे? हम तो एक बेरोजगारों की फौज खड़ी कर रहे हैं, जिनको ना हम स्किल दे रहे हैं, ना कुछ दे रहे हैं। कई बार हमारे शिक्षक आकर के कहते हैं हम टफ क्वेश्चंस नहीं दे रहे हैं इसलिए क्योंकि बच्चा पास नहीं करेगा। यानी पास करवाना भी अब विश्वविद्यालय का धर्म हो गया है। इस माइंडसेट से हम काम कर रहे हैं। So if we look at the new education policy, you will be finding that there is an element of interdisciplinarity, there is a flexibility in the structure, it is skill oriented। लोक विद्या शब्द का प्रयोग किया गया है। एक कुम्हार अपना चाक कैसे चलाता है और उसको गढ़ता है, इसको हमने विद्यालय विश्वविद्यालय का हिस्सा बनाया ही नहीं। हमको नहीं पता था, हमारे बाप माँ, हमारे बुजुर्ग लोग जो है वो तारों को देख करके पता कर लेते थे कि बादल बरसेगा या नहीं बरसेगा। वो केंचुए को देख करके पता कर लेते थे कि ये जमीन यहां पर इतनी होगी या नहीं होगी। वो कौन सी विद्या थी? और जब हमने कॉलोनियल नॉलेज सिस्टम को ला करके यहां इंप्लीमेंट किया, तब हमको यह पता नहीं था कि E इक्वल टू MC स्क्वायर होगा, आइंस्टीन की थियरी होगी। और जब 60s में लोगों ने कहा कि ये केमिकल मत लाओ, केमिकल मत लाओ, केमिकल को जमीन की उर्वरा शक्ति खत्म कर देगी, कोई विश्वास नहीं करता था, कहता था ये तो पढ़े लिखे बेवकूफ लोग हैं, ये तो बड़े रिग्रेसिव लोग हैं, ये तो मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी के खिलाफ लोग हैं। और अब पता लग रहा है कि जो हम खाद जमीन में बोते हैं वो खाद ही हमारे शरीर में चला जाता है उसके पौधों के द्वारा। जो फल है उसको हम खाते हैं, आलू खाते हैं, प्याज खाते हैं, यदि हमने खाद का प्रयोग किया है तो वही केमिकल हमारे शरीर में जा रहा है, हमारी मेटाबॉलिज्म को पूरा चेंज कर रहा है, हमको डिफरेंट डिफरेंट डिजीज से एक्सपोज कर दे रहा है। और इसीलिए आपने देखा होगा आजकल बड़ा फैशन चल गया ऑर्गेनिक ऑर्गेनिक ऑर्गेनिक। तो ये क्या था हमारा नॉलेज सिस्टम? हमने अपने ट्रेडिशनल लोक विद्या, हमने इसी को कहा लोक विद्या, लोक विद्या को हमने पूरा खत्म कर रखा। So it is important that this skills have now been made part of the structure of the education system, higher education system. And it is breaking, in a way, it is breaking the colonial element of the knowledge production system. The third component of the new education system is, this is a student-centric. Engaging new technology, the application of the vernaculars, and hands-on learning. If we look at that's why it is said that this will bring in disruptive change. There are different kinds of changes. The new education policy aims at disruptive change in the education system. ये सब उथल पुथल बदल करके रख देना. It's a paradigm shift. It's a paradigm shift in the sense that it is completely changing the pedagogy of education. It is a new journey from skill to the theory, examples to the theory, rather than quoting certain examples to substantiate the theory. No. It is just the reverse. The important is that, is it possible? It looks very lucrative. And every education system, every educational policy, whether it was during Rajiv Gandhi period or even prior, must have thought of something good and noble about it to achieve. It depends. Success depends. Success will depend on the kind of the teachers that we appoint in the colleges and the universities. Are they able to deliver it? Are they in position to deliver it? Do they have the skills to deliver it? That's important questions. Are the Vice Chancellor capable to deliver this? That is also important. We need not the administrator. We need academic visionary as Vice Chancellor of the universities. It is not about Delhi University, it's not about JNU, it is not about Jamia and Aligarh University or some of the elite universities of the country. New education policy is for the entire almost 900 universities in this country. So what kind of vice chancellor you are appointing? Are they the people of a spine who can stand and say that yes? Are they the people of morality and ethics that they can stand? That's very important, and that's very crucial questions to ask. We need academic leadership. Are we prepared for it? The only time will tell. I have no answer to this question. Do we have fun to raise? In the United States of America, for one PhD degree, one has to pay almost 20 lakhs, 40 lakhs. What about India? In 3 years, we paid 10,000. And yet, the quality of the degree, the quality of the PhD that we produce is trash. 90% of the PhD that we are producing in the university is a trash. And who has brought this situation to this? It is not the students. We, the teachers, have brought this. Nobody else is responsible for it. We, the teachers, are responsible. You and me are responsible for it. So important, the success will depend, because we all have, comfort zones. We all want to live within that comfort zones. We talk about as students, but no, we always talk about our salary, our benefits. What is the benefit system in general? I also have come from the college system. You also in college system. The staff rooms are the most, I don't think that the staff rooms are, ever talk about, the quality of what we are producing, what we are doing, what we are talking about. Most of the time, 90% of the communication that takes place within the staff system is entirely out of syllabus. They have nothing to do with the academics. So just we have to do the introspection. With these words, I stop here. I think that I have taken too much time, and I really apologize if I have exceeded. I must have exceeded because I don't control myself. I thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you. Thank you so much, Sadhana ji. Thank you, Amna. Thank you so much. Thank you, Subhaji. And I'm grateful to you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू सो मच सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जिस प्रकार से आपने शिक्षा न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में ड्यूटी से लेकर जॉब क्रिएशन से लेकर मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट एज अ टीचर how we must reflect on staff room being places of experiential learning and the quality of PhDs and research around us. I think sir you spoke like a true teacher from the heart. जैसे हमने कहा था कि एक पोएट, पॉलिटिकल एनालिस्ट एंड एकेडमिशियन का एक बहुत ही सुंदर मिश्रण, मल्टी डायमेंशनल अप्रोच है सर का, जो न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 में है. थैंक यू सो संगीत सर. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished friends, we now go towards our last speaker for today. Our last speaker for today is Professor Pankaj Arora sir, Director, Institute of Lifelong Learning, University of Delhi. Now, as you all know, जब हम न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 के डॉक्यूमेंट को भी देखते हैं, the very idea of learning, unlearn, relearn, and further learning, that's the ethos of lifelong learning. It is very vital to a new education policy. And then the very aspect of lifelong learning becomes very significant for new education policy. साथ साथ the very perspective of holistic approach, multidimensionality, flexibility, it is so much important today, wherein lifelong learning plays an important role in pedagogical aspects also. And then the very idea of getting technology available for all, letting education reach out to everyone. So herein, both with reference to the pedagogical approach, the need to revisit existing literature, and to see education in a new framework where ethos of lifelong learning definitely becomes very important. So on that note, it is indeed a privilege to request Professor Pankaj Arora sir, Director, Institute of Lifelong Learning, University of Delhi, कि वो अपने बात को अपने विचारों से हमें मार्गदर्शन प्रस्तुत करें. सर, स्वागत है आपका श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी कॉलेज फॉर वुमेन के इस नेशनल वेबिनार में. प्रोफेसर पंकज अरोड़ा, प्लीज. आई नो, मैं बताना चाहती हूँ साथियों कि सर एक सिलेक्शन कमिटी के बीच में हैं हमारे. आप देख सकते हैं कि दैट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ कंपोनेंट ऑफ अ यूनिवर्सिटी एस्पेक्ट राइट नाउ. सो सर, थैंक यू सो मच कि आपने अपना कीमती समय आज इस वेबिनार पे दिया. एंड इसी बात पे मैं प्रोफेसर पंकज अरोड़ा, डायरेक्टर, इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग, से अनुरोध करूंगी. सर प्लीज.
Thank you, Dr. Amna. It's really wonderful to be part of this discussion this afternoon. Though, as you mentioned, I'm a little held up because of a selection committee which was decided only day before. Otherwise, my all time was set for SPM, our sister institution, because this college is one institution which has education department. So that way we treat it as our sister institution. And Professor Sadhana, we met multiple times. Thank you for inviting me to this important on higher education. हालांकि संजय पासवान जी ने इस तरह बात समझाई और उसके बाद संगीत रागी जी को मैं सुन रहा था. इतने अच्छे से उन्होंने रिसर्च के डायमेंशंस को, स्पेशली व्हेन इट हैज द वे ऑफ एक्सप्लेनिंग पीपल दैट यंग माइंड्स, यंग ब्रिलियंट चिल्ड्रन हैव क्रिएटिव आइडियाज एंड नाउ पॉलिसी इज पेविंग देयर वे फॉर this initiation of research, whether it's theoretical or it's action research, but at least a way has been opened. And as part of NEP implementation committee at University of Delhi, I would be happy to share with you, few of you must be aware that in 4th year of bachelor's degree, we have proposed to have bachelor's honors degree with research, and the component of research has given special importance with the spirit of education policy, and that is multidisciplinarity and interdisciplinarity. So what this bachelor degree is proposing now, where we all need to gear up principal, teachers, libraries, and those rigid barriers of disciplines need to be broken down. जिस तरह बर्लिन की दीवार तोड़ी गई थी, उसी तरह ये डिसिप्लिन्स की जो रिजिड बैरियर्स हैं, दिस नीड टू बी चैलेंज्ड, दिस नीड टू बी रिविजिटेड एंड रीडिफाइंड. नाउ बैचलर डिग्री young children would be undertaking research in the 4th year. I'm just sharing a few ideas. Two level of their research. One is in the major, whatever they have opted. And second research we are proposing interdisciplinary, where they need to take consideration of their major along with their minor. So minor and major combination and integration would be beauty of those researches which will be carried out by young people there. Besides this bachelor's degree, policy is proposing multiple changes in the character of higher education institutions. For example, it is giving great autonomy to the institution at all levels. Academic level, when I say, I mean it is granting autonomy to not only to the institutions to develop their own curriculum and to exercise their own practices of evaluation, but also it is welcoming young children to decide their areas of study. So that autonomy is really unique, which was not existing in Indian education system till date. And when students are allowed to go for their interest areas, They are allowed to choose their areas as their specializations, as their minor, as their major. That means people can opt physics with political science. People can opt biology with Sanskrit. So no PCM and PCB combinations would be there. No history political science combination would be there. People, like many other universities, some private universities within NCR has already exercised this autonomy to their students. They allow them to have, like my own son has done economics research degree 4 years, which now policy is proposing for the national level. But that is existing in few universities in the country. So now policy, my son has opted BA Research Economics with a specialization in physics and management. So this physics and management was his interest areas. And because of the flexibility in degree programs, he was allowed to opt for these unique combinations which are not available to most of the public university students in the country. Post 4 years degree, another challenge was there, and that is regarding dropout rate, stagnation among people. That was many students, even in University of Delhi, we see around 10% students in the regular colleges and up to 25 to 30% students in SOL and campus of open learning. They drop out in between their journey of graduation. The number of people who enter in first year and exit after third year, around 25 to 30% people lost their way in between because of multiple reasons. We all know, we all are human beings. We are living in the same society. Because of the financial issues, sometime because of some family crisis, sometime because of their own health issues. And those time, energy and money which had been invested into completion of their 2 years of their degree or 1 year of their degree go waste. But now policy is proposing, let students allow exit and entry, which is called multiple entry and multiple exit. So this is a new welcoming provision again, because this way people, marginalized people, economically poor students, and the girl students who got married during their graduation to another town, another city, and they stop their pursuing their higher education. They will be now allowed to take a fresh admission in any other institution, recognized university, in any other part of the country. Even if they are migrating from one place to another, shifting from one place to another, if they want to carry forward their accounts of credit, which policy is suggesting ABC, Academic Bank of Credits. So that bank will carry on your deposits, and that those deposits will be shifted to another educational institution very conveniently. The provision is there. UGC has already notified a gazette on ABC model. Similarly, UGC has proposed guidelines for multiple entry and multiple exit to facilitate this process in the country. So these are few things which are coming up, and we teachers of university system, students, parents, community need to gear up, need to prepare ourselves. And for that preparation, few of you might be aware that policy implementation committee is already in place in University of Delhi. Only 2 days back, university has set up a NEP cell. That cell will ensure execution of education policy provisions in the University of Delhi. So that shows commitment of University of Delhi, where you and me belongs to. And we, with all seriousness and our commitment to education, we want to take care of the interest of our students. And then multiple entry exit option is one opening another new way in that direction. Master degree after 4 years of bachelor's degree now will be for 1 year, or even people can go straight to their research degree, which is doctorate. Professor Ragi was saying, doctorate will no more be, research will no more be restricted to PhD only, but bachelor degree students can also go for research experiences and exploration of their new ideas. Yes, from bachelor onwards, this training will be given to them, research methodology would be given to them, and because of that background, which is there in context of research projects and pedagogy and methodology of research, they can straight go to doctoral degree, and that's. But of course, everybody would not be wanting to go, and everybody may not be suitable to go. For that purpose, what has been proposed is a bachelor's honors degree with research, means completion of 4 years. People can go to doctorate degree provided they have scored certain specific percentage, certain specific CGPA in their bachelor's degree. Certain specific means it's around 7.5 or 7. I'm just forgetting what UGC committee has decided. And I will not be taking very long. I'll keep it short. What Dr. Amna was suggesting, Institute of Lifelong Learning, where she herself is a academic fellow with us, and we are very happy to have her amongst us, very dynamic person. So lifelong learning, the concept of lifelong learning and adult education is given another important space in education policy. And with that mission, government is setting up guidelines for adult education across the country. NCERT has been given this responsibility, and a national coordination cell for adult education has already been set up in NCERT. And lifelong learning, me, you, we all say and believe that education is a lifelong process. When we say and believe education is a lifelong process, then no matter we are getting formal opportunities to continue our education or informal opportunities to continue our education or semi-formal opportunities. Institutions of lifelong learning, which is a concept came from UNESCO, is proposing at any stage, if you want to catch up, if you want to get into new ideas which are coming up in any professional domain, academic domain, or skill domain, you can join some short-term course, some online course from such institutions of lifelong learning and keep yourself updating throughout your life. We have recently conducted a workshop on this legal literacy with the belief and understanding that many people in community, approximately 80 to 90% people, do not know legal compulsions, are not aware about legal provisions, how law protects them, how law safeguards their interest. And people are scared of law, people are scared of police, people are scared of going to courts. So to bring awareness among people, IILL has recently launched a program on legal literacy. And now we are continuously getting requests to plan something on financial literacy, which is another important aspect of everybody's life. So these new concepts of legal literacy or academic writing or financial literacy or Constitution of India, a short-term course on Constitution of India, all these things are helpful for the people to keep themselves updated. And that is another thing which policy is proposing and promoting. So with these new provisions found, I'm sure higher education will be benefited. Policy has envisioned year 2035 to take gross enrollment ratio from approximately 26% at present to 50% by the year 2035. So in next 15 years, policies proposing a 100% shift, 100% escalation. How can this happen? Policies suggesting digital education, policies suggesting online courses, policies suggesting MOOCs. So it is not that policy in isolation setting an agenda for which no idea or no hints are given how to achieve that. Policy at the same time is suggesting digital education, online courses and MOOCs. Again, SOL, Campus of Open Learning, and ILLL, University of Delhi, has collaborated to prepare MOOCs for the students of University of Delhi and for the students across country. Along with that, Campus of Open Learning, University of Delhi, has already been granted approval to run online courses. The way we heard in Western countries, people do certain online courses and enrich their knowledge and understanding. That part is always there. Now another avenue has opened. I agree with the fact, I am aware of the fact that our country has a strong digital divide, and that debate will remain there for coming years, at least for 15-20 years to come. But that doesn't stop us from taking initiatives in new domains. Gradually, expansion, gradually access of internet and equipment will increase, and these become part and parcel of our life. Some time back, when I was doing my bachelor's degree, Government of India came out with the idea of Operation Blackboard in the year 1988-89. In the year 88-89, Operation Blackboard was launched, and I'm sure we understand the significance of the term prefix operation. Operation means this will be on till mission is achieved. Something which we want to give a sanctity of, to grant a success, till that moment it will be on. Like the medical surgeries are called operations, military operations are called operations, because they don't take break. They go in one shot, whether it's for a day or for 4 or 5 days. With that intention, government brought Operation Blackboard. And if you ask me as a student of education, what does that mean? That very convenient, that very simply means providing 2 pakka rooms, weatherproof rooms to all schools, all primary schools, to provide drinking water facility and toilet facility to all children in school, and to arrange minimum 1 female teacher and 1 male teacher in all primary schools. So this was the agenda of Operation Blackboard in the year 89-90. So I am relating it with digital divide. 89, we were struggling to have 2 pakka rooms, 2 teachers, and drinking water facility in a school. And that with that mission, we brought Operation Blackboard, which unfortunately has never been declared successfully closed by Government of India. And now a digital divide situation is there. So the way intensity of Operation Blackboard gradually increased in the infrastructural facilities in schools and curriculum enrichment and stuff like that was going on, I am very optimistic that future is, India already is techno-guru in the world, techno-master in the world. And the technology we are providing to the world, Google being occupied by multiple talented and bright scholars, is an evidence that we have potential. If potential is there, then willpower is required to complement it and to take it to the new heights. And I'm very confident that very soon in next 15-20 years, this digital divide would be a history. And online courses, the way these are popular and being providing opportunity to the people in the West and Europe, those would be opportunities available to the people of India. So these MOOCs, digital online courses, is another important aspect which is going to impact higher education in the country, and which will be helpful, which will be a powerful tool of upgrading, taking the GER from 26% to 50% in next 15 years. So these few are the important aspects. Besides this model of colleges cluster, if you ask me three popular words from education policy, I will say multidisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity, and autonomy, cluster model. These 4-5 things are very popular. Now this cluster model is suggesting if your institution is an institution of technology exclusively, engineering exclusively, you can collaborate with nearby social science institutions and multidisciplinary institutions, and that cluster can be labeled as a multidisciplinary institution cluster in the remote parts of the country, in the rural parts of the country, in the tribal parts of the country. So these things are very new. Same way schools are being proposed to have clusters of schools instead of having isolated schools of primary level and secondary level and senior secondary level. Now cluster means from 3-4 schools would be led by a dynamic person in educational leadership. I will close my discussion by giving few ideas about the new scenario for teacher education, because teacher education is now being shifted from school education department of Ministry of Education. It's proposed to shift it to higher education. So that's also an important area which is getting impacted. And as I mentioned in the beginning, SPM has a strong Department of Education in place. Multiple colleagues, Professor Neeta is at the moment attending it, and Tulika is there, Sumanji was there, and Veena ji was there. So many colleagues are there from a very strong Department of Education is already there. Now these colleges will be given another opportunity to have ITAP. ITAP means Integrated Teacher Education Program. SPM as well as University of Delhi are multidisciplinary institutions, and government is proposing that ITAP can be offered only in multidisciplinary institutions. And in those multidisciplinary institutions, this ITAP is a 4-year program integrated of content and pedagogy, very strong close association of content and pedagogy. And the challenge in existing 4-year program about vertical mobility has also been addressed in this ITAP by providing significant amount of credits to liberal component, the specializations which students want to study, whether as part of their humanities or social sciences or natural sciences or physical sciences or commerce stream. So they will be given a significant number of credits into their discipline domain. Along with that, they will be understanding how to gradually understand the pedagogy of those disciplines, the challenges in that discipline, the strength of that discipline, how this has evolved, how this can better be transacted in a classroom situation. So those things will go hand in hand, and that is the core idea of ITAP which has been proposed now. So these few things will be in place, and all higher education institutions will surely be benefited. As my previous speakers already mentioned, that policy has opened way for multiple opportunities. And now it is up to us, up to colleges and universities, to what extent we want to take benefit out of those provisions and how we can give direction to our educational institutions to be the institutions for future generation, for the generation of 2021 as well as 21st century. Another important mention only, University of Delhi is largely known for social science courses and science courses in liberal area. But now our new Vice Chancellor has already initiated a Department of Technology within University of Delhi, and few new courses. Very soon we will see new courses on IT, on robotic science, on artificial intelligence, on this big data analysis. So these will not be the jargons and concepts to be discussed, but these will be taught and researched in University of Delhi. And that door has already been opened by constituting a relevant committee for the purpose. So this way, university, not only I focus around University of Delhi just to help people understand how higher education will be impacted, but this will be impacted across the nation, all the universities. I'll stop here. And if there are any observation or comment, I would happy to engage, happy to discuss. Over to you, Dr. Amna.
Thank you so much, sir, for those very important inputs and insights. Yes, sir, we have a lot of questions and we will be mailing them to you because respected faculty members would like to learn more from you on the important insights that you have pointed out. But looking at the paucity of time at hand, we will be mailing the questions to you so that it can be useful for better communications. Once again, thank you so much, Professor Pankaj, for updating us that how the idea of lifelong learning, which will be so significant for new education policy 2020 and various initiatives therein, which we all must reflect upon. So at the start, I'd like to invite on Shubha Sinha ma'am from IQAC, convener IQAC, to join us for the vote of thanks. Shubha ma'am, if you're there. So, friends, with this we come to we come towards that moment of the program, which is full of a lot of reflections, a lot of new insights. So, thank you so much to all our respective Shubha ma'am, please. Yeah, Shubha ma'am, vote of thanks.
Hello, Amna, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. Ma'am, please go ahead.
It's very noisy. So, Amna, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
So, on behalf of SPM College, it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. And my heart goes on to thank respected Sanjay Paswanji, Professor Sangeet Ragi, Professor Kuril, and Professor Pankaj Sharma, who all have spared invaluable time to enlighten us and enhance our understanding on the subject by their commendable talk. I want to extend my deep gratitude and thanks to our principal, Professor Sadhna Sharma, who has been so supportive. I want to thank the torchbearer of this event, Dr. Amna Mirza, who has conducted and organized the program so successfully. And my thanks to Sarabjit ji and Manish for the technical support. And at the same time, I would like to thank Chetna also, who has helped in conducting this program. And last but not the least, my thanks to all the participants and my dear students and my colleagues. Thanks a lot. So with this, we can finish off this webinar. Thanks a lot, Amna, again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Bye, Amna.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. And once again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, prospective principal ma'am. Thank you to all the respective speakers. Thank you. And dear friends, we will be sharing the feedback link in the WhatsApp group. So thank you, everyone. Over to Chetna and Manishji and Sarabjit sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Feedback form is in the chat box, so you can fill it.